I see you jumping around on social media. Man's back with the memes, everything. Like, yes, sipping tea. I was just thinking, what are you excited for? You're still 11 points behind them. What's going on over there?
The decision was a disgrace. VAR has become a laughing stock. It's ruining our game. It's ruining people. Scott Park hit the nail on the head. It's taken the purity out of the game.
But they got
Sav,
94 points.
can you hear me? It's Rio.
I've got you.
Yeah. I've got a quote, yeah? Jurgen Klopp's Warriors are the greatest Premier League team we have ever seen.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Steven, Rio, and Joe. I got tuned into 5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's Steve, you know it's Joe, you know it's Rio.
Yes, guys, it's Vibe with 5. We're back. We're here. What a weekend of football that was. What an unbelievable weekend that was. The Manchester derby, Manchester was painted red. Whoever wins, the colours go across the city. That's what happens. This time it was Man United. Liverpool, 6 straight defeat at home at Anfield, at the Fortress. What's happened? And we're going to go with Fulham. What?
What has happened?
Well, we're going to have to try and go through it, man. And then obviously Fulham have come back from the dead from nowhere, beating Liverpool, but now they're in touch with everybody. They may survive. I spoke to Scott Parker last week, actually. We'll have him on again. It'll be on the Vibe with 5 YouTube channel, I think, on Wednesday. So look forward to that interview because he drops some gems in there. But boys, listen, we can't start anywhere else but the Manchester derby, surely.
Interesting game still, I can't lie, man. I see you jumping around on social media. Man's back with the memes, everything. Like, yes, sipping tea. I was just thinking, what are you excited for? You're still 11 points behind them. What's going on over there? You need to talk to me.
I agree, but sometimes you got to just cling on to something that you can at the time. We're not going to win the league. We let that go. The only frustrating thing that came out of this weekend is I wanted that type of performance at Old Trafford last time we played Man City. If we came with that type of energy, that type of game plan against Man City, we were a team that went there and said, we want to win. We've got to put a marker down. People are chasing us for second now. They understood the situation and went for it. I feel that it was a opportunity missed at Old Trafford. We didn't sit there and go, there's an opportunity to win this league. Let's go for it. It was a conservative display, almost a scared display at Old Trafford. This was the polar opposite. And this should fill this team with confidence now.
Do you know what I think some possible mitigation for that performance against City at home was? The Spurs game. Once Spurs started scoring, once we kind of went for it, we went down to 10 men. They rattled us for 6. And I wonder how much of that rattled Ollie. How much was Ollie rattled going into those games at home thinking, I can't concede 6 again. So we kept clean sheets. We've kept clean sheets against all sorts of people. Now, people have been focusing on the 0-0 aspects of all of these, and that's fine. We should have won some of those games, definitely. But the fact that we've kept in so many clean sheets, and we would have kept the one against Arsenal as well, but for Pogba giving a penalty away, we've actually been very difficult to score goals against. And, everyone's been going bananas.
In them games you're talking about against the top 6.
Yeah, in those games, we've become difficult to score against because I think he's changed his tactics a little bit. I think he's gone back to a little bit, not perfect because we were good on the break against those teams, but Tony's been out of form largely this season. Marcus has been up and down with his form. Cavani's not really had much of an opportunity in any of those games. And I think that we've not really been able to play with all our attacking threats in those matches. But defensively, I think we've looked pretty good. And I think if it's a season of progress, I think that's another bit of progress that we've seen in a bit of a crazy season is how hard we've become for those teams to beat us, even though I think we're all gutted that we've not managed to take more wins away from those games. No one's looking at United and going, that's an easy game.
No, but you know what, mate?
No.
They'll look back.
You lot have been You lot have been holding back, handbrakes on, seatbelts on in some of those games.
We haven't,
when I look at the Chelsea game, especially the first one that I watched with you, no one wanted to lose. Second game that we saw the other day, a few weeks ago, same thing, man. Like, it's easy to now shift the stats and the records and make it seem as if United have been strong, solid. I think you guys haven't.
But even that Chelsea game, Joel, we didn't part the bus in that game. We weren't effective going forward, but that doesn't mean we parked the bus. People are looking at the fact we didn't score goals and equating that to the fact that we didn't attack. That's not true in any of those games.
I think the bigger picture is the players and the staff. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll be kicking themselves from that game against Man City at Old Trafford. It was there for the taking. It would have changed the whole dynamic of the season, and the mindset would have been, right, it's definitely on now. We let that go. That's where you'll be sick, because you see the performance this week when we actually went for it and the game plan was spot on. The players executed the game plan perfectly, pressed them high. The press was magnificent, the way we pressed them. And then we hit them on the break at times. We didn't do that in the home leg. And so you know you've got it. You know you can do it because we've just done it. You're going to look back on a couple of games and go, you know what? That's where we probably let it go. And listen, now City went on a run. It was just remarkable, really, what they'd done. And it's funny, Man United, when I played, we stopped the Invincibles run. And then here we are, this world record run of wins on the bounce Man City had. Man United put that to a stop. It's like we're the party poopers, man. That's what we do.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you, Rio, because you're talking about those big games. I think for me, it was the West Brom and the flipping Sheffield. Those are the games for me where if you win those games, you're back on track.
I agree, Joe. I agree 100% with what you're saying. But what I mean is that game was a poignant moment in the season. Like you put half an hour in one of your competitors' coffins, and you allow yourself to have the confidence to then breathe from that. It was just flat. And I think that's a moment. There comes moments in the season. Man United for a long time now have found it difficult to beat the teams that you're meant to beat, you're supposed to beat. We've always dropped points at home to the likes of the West Broms and the equivalents in different seasons. That's been one of our Achilles' heels. But when you've got one of your competitors on the ropes and they're there for the taking, not on the ropes, but they're there, you're at home, you're expected to go for it when you're at home. You're a Man United player, you win. You say you win your home games. And we let the opportunity go because we played passive, we played conservative. That's the worst thing about it. We didn't go for it. There's no worse way to drop points or to fall out of a title race than to play with a handbrake on a little bit and be a bit passive.
It's not that you're parking the bus. You're just conservative. You're careful. That's my.
I think there's a difference between being conservative, and I think Rio kind of touched on it there a little bit. That first game against City was passive. This game yesterday against City, we played defensively, but it wasn't passive. I think the difference was that we attacked their attack. We didn't let them settle. We tried to attack them at different points. We tried to press them at different points. First half an hour, this was a case of how many are United going to score, not are United going to win this. I thought that first half an hour, we absolutely rattled them.
I think Bruno has been called before the game from different pundits in different quarters in the media saying he doesn't produce against the big teams. And his stats do say that. It was suggesting that. But immediately the game comes in, he gets a penalty. And everyone says, he scored a penalty. It's another penalty. Listen, how many penalties you see get missed in big pressure situations? You've got to have the minerals to step up and take them. And he's got that. So I love the way he's a leader in the way that he takes responsibility. That's what I love about him. And I think he's going to be someone that the impact that he's had on this team, I don't think we've seen many, many more. There won't be more than a handful of people that have had similar impacts the way he's come in and done what he's done for one football club.
Did RVP have that sort of impact for us?
Yeah, I think RVP, Cantona, I don't know, Salah's come in at Liverpool and absolutely ripped it up. We can name a few, but the way he's just changed the whole dynamic at the football club, the confidence from a fan's perspective, it was morbid at the club for a while. Do you know what I mean? It was grey. It was just like everything was downbeat. And then all of a sudden he comes in and starts throwing numbers about that are just ridiculous in terms of his output. I just love the way he plays. I love his attitude. Yes, he gives the ball away a bit too much for my liking. But when you're taking risks, that's what happens. So looking at Man United, you're looking at Bruno, yeah? Impact. If you're talking player of the season, are you saying Luke Shaw or are you saying Bruno? I know Steve's got some words of wisdom about Luke Shaw, not one of his favourites.
Going back a little bit on the impact of Bruno, and I think this is a double-edged thing with, obviously, one thing that we had even before Bruno. Under Mourinho, I think you was right. There was a morbidity about the club where you knew that you'd go to Anfield and you'd go to the Etihad and you knew that he was going to play for 0-0 with his life. And you might not even try and win the game. He was just trying not to lose the game. Whereas I definitely feel different under Solskjaer. I definitely feel like we will have a go in these games. And whether or not that's a counter-attacking tactic or whatever it is, I know that the lads walk onto the pitch with here's how we'll win this game rather than here's how we'll not lose this game sort of mentality. Do you feel that?
That's a big difference. And listen, I'm not the manager. Tactically, Ollie has us set up perfectly to win, I think, the big games against the teams that are going to have more possession. Against teams that are going to dominate the ball more than us, we are primed. We've got the perfect personnel to play like that on the counter-attack. Our front three are as good as anyone in terms of breaking on teams, counter-attacking and then punishing. That's been proven over the last couple of years, the way we played, yeah? But I also think that the game against Man City the weekend was such a massive it was a massive point in the right direction for how we can then evolve. We can press teams high up the pitch. All this because we've got for whatever reason we sit back and we play a bit of a lower block and then counter on teams. We can win the ball high and hurt teams. It's shown in the game against the best team at passing the ball out from the back is in possibly in Europe, Man City. We had them on the ropes for, like you said, 25, 30 minutes of that first half from pressing. Not even a full press, but actually just the intent to press and then go and punish.
Realistically, wasn't it?
If we can continue that and convert that into against teams who are lesser teams that we're supposed to be, sometimes them teams come to Old Trafford, we go to their grounds and we kind of get forced to sit back. Brighton done it to us, where they take the ball off us, they have most of possession. Yeah, it's fine, but we've got the players now. If they're set up right, coached right to press high, that's a hard team to play against.
Who pressed you the most when you were playing that you can think of?
Tevez
when he went to City, I can imagine, was a bit all over you.
Yeah, Tevez he always pressed you. It was hard to play against. But I think, I'll be honest with you, as a team, the hardest team that I ever played against was Bielsa's Athletic Bilbao team.
Oh, yeah.
In the Europa League. It was an unbelievable eye-opener as to how you can be pressed. It was like the energy levels. They beat us over two legs. But I remember doing a drug test with Ander Herrera after the game, and I was in there, and I just was going to him. I was actually quizzing him. I said, "How do you lot train? Are you like? Does he train you?" He said, "Listen, the manager is crazy. Bielsa is crazy, but he's brilliant. He's unbelievable. And we die before the end of the season physically, but Rio, wow, what he does with us is amazing." So that was, in terms of a team being pressed, they were probably the hardest that I played against in that sense. They were brilliant.
What about the Barca team? Because I know I was watching the interview when you were talking about them in general. Did you feel that kind of press as well when you came across those players in 07, 08?
Yeah.
Sorry, the other seasons.
Yeah, they pressed us as well. They were brilliant at it, but there was an aggressiveness with this Athletic Bilbao team. It was a bit different. Whereas the Pep Barcelona team, there was a bit more of a tactical edge to it. They were pushing us into certain areas that they wanted us to go into. And the bigger thing with the Barcelona team was more about once they won possession, whether it be high or they won it off of our strikers, the two wide players were high and wide, which pinned back our back four. So our back four had to play a little bit deeper. Me and Vidic had no one to mark. They had an extra body in midfield. It was just like, they asked us so many questions tactically, and I think that's what can happen when that happens as well. In the midst of a game, when you're being pressed, it becomes so blurry, and you can't answer questions at that pace sometimes. And before you've answered the questions and you get a chance to regroup, when the ball goes out for a sustained period of time, or as an injury, someone goes down, or you go in at half time, you could be 2 down in them games. That's how I see Man United playing. I think they should go that way, definitely. Overwhelm teams with energy, with pressing, tactical pressing, and they've got the quality to finish teams off. They do that, man. I'm telling you, these boys will score loads of goals, man, and they'll scare the life out of teams.
You was unflustered as a centre-half as well, but did you feel the pressure? Because you've got a great touch, you had good vision, you were physical, But did you feel the pressure of that when you was in possession? Did you think, shit, I need to get rid of this?
Yeah, well, I think it's more about, especially with the Pep team, and I see it with the Barca team we played against, but I see it with the City team. He gets that many bodies in the middle of the pitch, you can't see your own team's colours. There's that many light blue shirts hanging about. You just think, where am I going to pass the ball? And it's a little bit like when we used to go to Anfield. When we used to go to Anfield and play in the big Liverpool game, loads riding on it there, Torres up front, Gerrard in the hole, etc., Mascherano and that. Hard team to play against, especially at Anfield. They thickened up the middle of the pitch. They had bodies everywhere. You get the ball, and it was like, wow. But the difference between in my time and this time, we're not scared to play over the press. We'd play over that press or around the press, wide. Yeah. So a big thing in them games would be to switch the ball from right to left or left to right, where they've been pressing the ball this side of the pitch, get it out the other side, and someone cheat out there and stay there. A Ronaldo or a Nani or Giggs or whatever it is. Whereas now, the teams nowadays have become obsessed with playing out and playing through the press, which I think it brings more risk. Yes, you can play through the risk at times, but then I think it's equally as important being able to play over or around it as well. And so I think with Man United, with our players we've got, when we're being pressed, we've got the players to be able to play over and around that press all day long.
Steve,
Yo.
Steve, this one's for you, mate. Luke Shaw. Now it's a known common fact that you're not his biggest fan, right? But
Hang on,
we
I'm
have
feeling
to say,
like on the back
no,
end
no,
of the
no.
agenda
Hold
for you.
on. Listen, we know you're not his biggest fan. You get hundreds of tweets regularly. You have to admit he's been class of late, man. One of Man United's best performance this season.
Best left back in the Premier League this year, no doubt.
Shut up, Rio.
You reckon?
No, I don't.
Who's been better?
Luca Dean,
He's been injured for ages. He was injured for ages.
still the best left back in the league.
No,
See,
this
now you're
season,
just
who's been the
being
best back in the league?
Luca.
He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he ain't been in the same class as Luke Shaw this season.
Even like when you look at like Luke's had, and I'll say this with Luke, I think he's had a fantastic 6 weeks. I think people overemphasize attacking input on defenders. I want them to defend first. I mean, am I wrong on that? Do you want Joe? Like
I think
we've hammered
first of all-
Trent for his
Yeah.
defensive liabilities. I don't think Shaw's in the same sort of category when it comes to how liable he is defensively. But I see mistakes. I saw mistakes from him yesterday. I still see him facing his goal far too often and not back in the defensive line. There was one point, I think it was Rodri was driving forward with the ball. Maguire had to go and mark whoever it was on the right. I think it might have been Mahrez because Shaw hadn't got back. And I think if Shaw's in his line, Maguire's out there and stopping that ball before it gets to the D. Like, I think we're getting away with a little bit of what he does defensively. Now, I'm not talking about what he does offensively because offensively he's been good. He is creating chances. He is driving us forward. My issue with him is a pure defensive thing, and it's a mentality and a mindset thing because I've seen him sprint occasionally to get back and cover. I just don't see it enough. Too often he's the last man into the
First
box.
of all, I think Reguilon's been the best left back this season so far, personally.
He ain't played enough games.
But I think when I see him and I look at his quality, I think he's the best, right? Because I don't know, that's I rate him personally. And I look at Patrice Evra, he cheated defensively, didn't he?
Yeah,
Cheated.
Evra's positioning also used to make me pull my hair out.
Yeah. See, Patrice, this is how Patrice, and I think Luke Shaw is very similar. Between the boxes, Patrice was the best in our generation. Between the boxes, best left back. Between there, he could drive up the pitch on his own with the ball. Player 1-2, or just make a run. He could be up and down. No, I've not seen anything like it in between the boxes. But in their box, did he pick out people as much as, I don't know, an Ashley Cole maybe, or Leighton Baines? No. And was he probably as good defensively as maybe an Ashley Cole? I'd say maybe not. I wouldn't say it's as big a bigger gap in terms of in the attacking side and the defensive side. But in between, there was no comparison between the two guys I mentioned and Patrice Evra in between the boxes. Ridiculous. And, by the way, in both boxes, aerially, he was brilliant. So, and Patrice was a ridiculous player. But, yeah, I see a little bit of that in Shaw. In between the boxes, he's unreal. His distribution.
But I'm not imagining, like, laziness and attitude things and poor positioning defensively, am I? Please at least give me that. I'm not imagining this, am I?
I think in seasons gone by, you could definitely throw at him in terms of his application, in terms of getting back. He looked a little bit off the pace. He looked a bit lazy maybe at times. This season, I have to disagree with you. I've got to be honest with you. I think he's been. And listen, we have to look at where he's come from. By the way, this is a kid who was broken down mentally. It seemed, looked like he was on the scrap heap at Man United. Mourinho, when he was there, absolutely discarded him. The kid was a broken man. He's come back from the depths to now being one of the most important players at Man United in the way that they're playing. So you have to commend him for that. In
possession, not a problem. Out of possession, still makes me pull me out.
We're not going to change his Stay's view on this, man. So let's move on.
I want to quickly talk about Dean Henderson, man, because for me, he's an interesting one. Do you have your future number one goalkeeper staring you right in the eyes?
Listen, it's a battle, but I think you got to listen to what Ollie said in the press conference after. He's got the shirt for now, but when until De Gea is back, that's what he said. Mm-hmm. So it looks like once he comes back, De Gea will be back in the team. And listen, at the end of the day, De Gea's the number one keeper there. He's been brilliant for many a season. Yes, he's had the odd blip here and there, but listen, the guy. Listen, Steve, you'd be able to tell us how many times has he won Player of the Year?
De Gea, it was like 4, I think.
Yeah, no keeper in the history of Man United has done that.
Yeah.
But did he suit a certain particular style of play when United became a bit more underdoggish? Was those reflex saves more of something because we invited teams to the edge of our box and allowed them to shoot from those sorts of areas? Is that what suited his game? Now we want to be able to play out, certainly with the rule change in terms of where defenders are when they're playing out. Do we want people that are going to command the box a little bit more? We've seen Dean Henderson start 2 attacks in 2 weeks. I can't tell you the last time I saw De Gea start an attack for us.
Yeah, listen, Dean Henderson done what he's meant to do. Go in there and look commanding. He done that. So it's down to Ollie now. We have to wait and see what he does.
6 games he's got, hasn't he? Where until De Gea's back. Do you think that's enough for him to cement a claim for the shirt?
I don't know, man. It's difficult. Listen, we all know you can be rosy this week and not the next. So, listen, I hope he does well. Young English goalkeeper. But at the moment, I've got to be honest, I'd go with David De Gea for experience, his number one goalkeeper.
You obviously had a pretty big interview last week, didn't you, with Pep and Diaz? How do you reckon they're taking the defeat? What did you learn much from them? It was a good interview. Yeah,
listen, one of the best perks of the job working with us here and with BT is being able to speak to the players that are playing, the managers. And we've been really good. We've been lucky. Pep was like, I was probably one of the most nervous I've been for an interview because there's so much that I respect about what he does as a manager, how innovative he is. Even to the things that he was talking about. Just like I asked him about Foden, and normally a manager will say, yeah, he's good, he's got to get a bit of time and blah, blah, but he was talking about nuances and the detail. Like, as a young player, yes, he's enthusiastic, but we've got to be able to slow him down and he's got to change the rhythm of his game to surprise his opponents. If you just play at one speed the whole time, the opponents understand and know what's coming. But you slow the pace down sometimes, play slow, and then speed it up. That throws opponents off, and that's when you become an extraordinary player, he said. Like, stuff like that, the detail, man, and how his obsession with football, and if there's a moment in a game that he feels that something needs to be said right, then even if they've won, like I took him back to the moment when Raheem Sterling, I think it was the FA Cup final, they'd won the FA Cup, and the pictures were of him on the pitch grabbing Raheem and telling him about a situation in that game. They just won the FA Cup. Celebrate, normally you would. He's telling him about a bit of a tactical situation that he needs to get into his head. It's just, I love all that. That's just, it's great for me. And I always look at it, would I have liked to have played for one of these managers? And Pep is definitely one that you'd love to have been able to play for.
Do you still have memories from what he did to you? I mean, I know you spoke to him and you was jokingly speaking about how good they were against you, but you know, I've never heard you speak so highly of a manager. Do you have memories of what happened? And also, do you think he's just the best manager in the planet?
I think he's the best manager like right now for me. I think he is. Whether his team's the best or not, I just think he's the best manager. Klopp's a great manager, and what he's done the last 4 or 5 years has been ridiculous too. But just there's something about Pep that's just a bit. How he innovates with his teams is what I like, and he dares. He's a maverick in that sense. and he's always thinking. He's like a chess player. But the stuff, what happened with us with Barcelona, that'll be a conversation I think we'll take up with him again. We'll get him again for another interview and we'll speak about that in more depth, because there's a lot of questions for me to ask in that I've had since. That I'll be sitting on a beach somewhere, I have a lovely day, then bang, Barcelona, Rome just kicks in, depresses the whole holiday.
Which one's worse for you, Wembley or Rome?
Probably Wembley was more embarrassing because they absolutely smashed us. They couldn't even get the ball. Didn't even get a tackle. I think I made one or two tackles that I didn't. No one even played near me. It was just a joke. Tactically, they bossed us. But the one in Rome, there was just a bad taste because we had 3 or 4 chances in the first 10 minutes. He said it on the interview when I spoke to him the other day. He said, we were lucky at the first 10 minutes. Because if we score in the first 10 minutes, I'll back us to defend and be able to just see the game out. Because we were that good at doing that. That was what we were good at. But PK cleared one off the line. I think Tevez or Ronaldo missed a chance. I forget who it was. Park, yeah. So we missed chances, but they were the better team again on the day in the end.
Cheers, Joel.
Anyway, let's move on to Liverpool. Brighten it up for us now. We've gone from a depressing situation to a wonderful situation at Anfield, where they've lost 6 on the bounce and 1-0 to a struggling but resurgent Fulham team.
That's crazy.
Is it
man.
going properly west? Like, because 6 consecutive after going, what was it, 60 games, 60 odd games without a defeat?
What kind of a question is that? Of course, it's going bad for them.
No, I mean, but is there more to them that meets the eye? Is it going properly west behind the scenes?
Steve, they are the. Sorry, yeah, but I'm not sorry. They're the worst defending champions I've ever seen. Probably okay, cool. Maybe you'll say Leicester, innit? Yeah, cool. But besides them, awful, terrible, man. Like, are they the new Leicester?
It is the biggest fall from grace I've seen. 2 Champions League finals back to back. They won one of them, and then they win the league by a ridiculous margin. And then they have an absolute slump that's never been seen before like this. It's unreal. The way it's turned around. Yeah, we can look at injuries and stuff like that. And listen, I don't think there's ever been a team who've won the league who have been decimated like this, the way that they have. That's one bit that I'd give them. And like to
7 past them, and there was only missing a keeper.
I know that. But listen, man, you can't. That's one result. Aston Villa beat them. I get that, but listen, at the end of the day, the team has been decimated with injuries. The confidence that has then been sapped out of the whole group. You got to remember, this took 4 or 5 years to build. By the way, this confidence and this fear factor that became a constant energy around Anfield, especially when any team were playing against Liverpool the last 2 years, there was a fear factor. Man, they'd lost it in the tunnel before they walked out. How are they going to get that back? How are they going to get the fear factor back? How are they going to get that standing in the tunnel, looking across, and teams going, they can't be beaten at the moment, the way this team played. Their energy levels, their aggression, their game management, how good they are in front of goal in terms of converting chances. They were scoring above 2 goals a game, I think, last season. This season, they're like 0.7 or 8. It's unbelievable, the turn of events. But I think the biggest thing for Klopp, now people are talking about, should he get the sack? And people are saying, it's the same as Dortmund, he's gone now. You can't. The guy's got too much credit in the bank, what he's done for that football club and brought them back from where they were to where they are now. He deserves all the time to get this club back into a situation where they have a chance of winning again. Because at the end of the day, listen, they've got huge talent in there. But this is what we always say. Talent doesn't always win. It's not about talent all the time. You need the confidence. You need the mental capabilities to win games and to see games out. Right now, that's left the building.
Yeah. Can it just be Van Dijk coming back that brings that back with him?
Too many players will have scars now. That's the word. They've got to be rebuilt. There's some players have got to be rebooted and rebuilt. Because there's too many scars now. There's teams coming to Anfield with a swagger. Brighton were one of the first to do it. Now everyone's followed the lead. They're all walking into... It's like Man United a few years ago. They used to walk in there with fear. Now they walk to Man United. Even still now, I say a little bit, walk in there and say, you know what, we've got a chance here. And they're going into Anfield now and saying, listen, you see them, they done it. You see them, they done it. They're the blueprint over there. we got better players than them. Some of them will say we can bash these up. That's how teams are going there. And it ain't going to take a Van Dijk just coming back on his own, or a Henderson coming. You need all of them coming back, and then you need the people to get back into form. Do you know what I mean? The front three.
Market, do you think?
Yeah, the transfer market maybe, but you look at the front three, the confidence levels from them 6 months ago to a year ago to now, it's like night and day, man. That's a rebuilding process in itself.
Mane is not a great season. Firmino, never really been a fan of him. Overall, as a goal scorer, you can just see that they're missing goals from the guy. Obviously, Jota not being around hasn't really helped either.
He started off like a house on fire, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the man. But do you think they went wrong by not being more aggressive in the transfer market?
Listen, man, they spent 40 million on Jota. They got Thiago. They got a European Champions League winner. They bought a left back as cover.
You know he's injury prone though.
But they bought but you got to look. Oh, he was a mainstay in the Champions League winning team last year. He won the treble, I think, last year. Yeah. One of the best midfielders in the world. Everyone was going crazy about him coming. You couldn't have got a bigger profile player, many bigger profile players to come from a European rival. And then you bought Jota for 40 mil, and you got a left back as cover for Robertson. There ain't much more they could have done in the market other than, I think, bought for their bench, because their bench is the worrying part for me. They haven't
part of a team though, because if you're looking at your successful teams as well, I mean, when I'm looking at just the strikers you had, some of the guys that were supposed to be on the bench, bruv, that's some serious stuff. When you're looking at what they've done in the January market, no disrespect to some of them boys, but they've gone and got guys from Schalke, bottom of the league, lower league players. Like that doesn't tell me defend the league.
That window was a panic window,
you know?
And I don't think that window will age well. But I just think that it's more their squad outside of their 11 a little bit after the two signings that they made in the summer, I think is what needs a lot of work. But I think the biggest thing for me now, they got to go in a transfer window, but as importantly, it is rebuilding the mental state of these players that have gone from absolute humongous characters who created fear to people now that have gone diminished in size in people's eyes and don't have that fear factor anymore.
Steve.
I'm
Scott Parker, man.
No. Before we go into Scott Parker, I got a question. We were talking about how they were the best team. Liverpool were the best team in the league.
Who was?
Yeah.
There's quotes. We've got them quotes.
I got to ring someone. I'm ringing someone right now.
Yeah. Can we have the quotes on the screen, please?
I'm ringing someone. That's who I'm ringing. Robbie Savage.
Robbie Savage said, Jurgen Klopp's Warriors are the greatest Premier League team we have ever seen. Madness. Absolute madness.
Let's get him on now.
Let's see if he picks up.
He's not picking up, man.
You know,
but they got
Sav,
94 points.
Can you hear me? It's Rio.
I've got you.
Yeah. I've got a quote, Just quick, you got 2 minutes.
Yeah, of course, for you, mate, for you. Because you do me all the time,
I appreciate it, mate. Right, Liverpool. They've lost 6 on the bounce at Anfield. They're struggling to get in the top 4. This is one of your quotes from earlier in the season. Jurgen Klopp's Warriors are the greatest Premier League team we have ever seen. Where are you with that now? Like, are you standing by that comment or what?
Some things you say stuff, but you like get punished for shit when teams do poorly. yeah, they do. And probably, I probably got that one wrong, Rick.
I probably got that one wrong. Yeah, maybe you have. Yeah. So where are you with him now? What would you say about him now then?
That team right now is not a great team, but with everybody back, that team has proven at Champions League final, something that I don't ever done, and won the Premier League, which he done 6 times or 5.
6. Sorry, mate.
Is that not a fair point?
Yeah, you're right. All right, mate. Sav, appreciate that time, mate. Sorry to bother you. Sorry to bother you, mate. I'll let you get back. What are you doing? You busy?
I'm on the new pitch at Macclesfield FC. At the time I was going down today before we laid the 4G.
Oh, love it. You know what? We're gonna have to get you on actually to talk about that because grassroots football is something that's is like something close to your heart, and it's something that obviously we're interested in as well. So we'll get you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, mate. I'll let you get back to it, mate. Take care. That aged well, that quote. Anyway. Yeah. Well, it's true, man. Sometimes you get carried away and you become a meme.
Yeah. Well, you know all about that. Could we get up another quote, please?
There's
Yeah,
been
go
some
on.
shocking quotes, haven't there, from people about that team.
All right.
Yeah, Mulby. What a player, by the way.
Moby said Liverpool's class of 2019-2020 will go down as one of the best football teams we have ever seen. Ah, boy, we were expecting something special. Paul Merson, they were the best team I've ever seen without the ball. Do you agree on that, guys?
They're one of the. They were good without the ball. I've got to say they were great without the ball. The Pep's teams in years gone by have been unbelievable with the ball, without the ball as well, though.
Michael Owen, the players deserve immense credit. It's been a tough season, but they've been far and away the best team. The stats will prove that. It will go down as one of the greatest Premier League teams that we have ever seen. This guy's torn between playing for Liverpool and Man United. I can see it all.
Nah, I don't think he is.
Yeah. Oh man.
The thing is, on the points thing, the way football's gone is that the gap between the top and the bottom of the league has been exaggerated. In 1992, 1993, 1994, and all through the 80s and the 70s, it was a much more level playing field. Since sugar daddies and absolutely bananas commercial deals have come into the game and really inflated everything, the bottom takes less points from the top than they used to, and the top takes more points from everybody else in the table than they used to.
Real quick, before we're talking about the greatest teams, I got to bring it up, man. This is Vibe with 5. 99 treble team versus 2007-2008 team. Who takes it, Rio?
I think my team takes it.
Yeah?
2007. So yeah, I think we'll take it. I just think that we'll be a quicker team. We had that a bit extra flair, I think, as well. Do you know what I mean? When you've got Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez up front, I don't think they'd have been able to handle us. I've got to be honest. It would have been close. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we'd have battered them, but it'd have been a close game. But it's my team, and I've got to back my team.
What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, I go with that as well. Obviously, the treble team for me is the only team that's done the treble. Although I think this City team could go very close with it. I think they've got half a chance of doing that. But the two teams that have only ever won the Champions League and the Premier League in the same season, despite Liverpool wanting to take photos with both trophies, are both United. For me, that 2008 side, obviously it got to multiple Champions League finals. It also won 3 back-to-back. And do you want me to tell you who's done that in the Premier League as well? Only the 99 side was part of a three-peat. So you can't write them off for that. But for me, the difference in this is that English football in 2008, we played another English team in the final. I think we played, did we play Arsenal in the semi-final?
Yeah.
There was English
No, we played
in the
played Barca in the semi-final.
Oh, yeah, of course it was, yeah. Was it the following year we played Arsenal in the semi-final? Yeah. So you've got English teams, multiple English teams, so not just one, multiple English teams making up the numbers big time in the latter stages of the Champions League. There was English teams in the final. 2005, we had Liverpool in the final. 2006, Arsenal in the final. 2007, Liverpool in the final. 2008, United and Chelsea in the final. United back in the final in 2009. That tells me English football was the best football in Europe at the time, and that 2008 team dominated. Now, you couldn't say English football was dominating Europe in 1999, even though we came up against some wonderful teams. That Juventus team was like the Barcelona team that we met in 07, 08, 09. That was the equivalent. It was a team that was absolutely smashing it.
Yeah.
But for me, just because they managed to edge it out on the basis of being probably a slightly higher level Premier League, I have to give it to the 2008 side. And I think the X factor might come down to Ronaldo as well. It's the only Ballon d'Or winner in the Premier League. Don't really count Michael Owen, so that for me is the difference. How do you win in a Ballon d'Or scoring about 16 goals? Come on, man.
Nah, but you guys get it twisted because it wasn't the world Ballon d'Or, it was the European one, innit? So I'm always having to remind my friends that there's a difference. Figo won world Ballon d'Or. For me, there's
Michael Owen won an actual Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, but the Ballon d'Or he won was the European one because they used to have
I don't think so.
2 of the year. They used to give the world one and the European one.
I don't think so. I'm just going to Google it now.
He weren't no world Ballon d'Or. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure
think
it
he was,
was.
you know. I think it was.
Yeah, and he didn't do a lot that season to get it. Yeah.
Ian, how much you want to put out?
Didn't they win 4 trophies that year?
Yeah,
What?
but none anyone cares about.
Triple.
They won the UEFA Cup, the League Cup, the FA Cup, I think.
Anyway, listen, let's move on because I've got to shoot, guys.
All right.
Gareth
Cool.
Bale, man. Tottenham. Jose Mourinho. Listen, at the end of the, you know, this is the difference with this team for Jose Mourinho of the last couple of years. He's attackers potentially will shoot him to the Champions League positions. Now, before we've always said that his defenders would have got him there. And that foundations of being solid and hard to play against and going out there not to lose. Some people would throw that at him. But I believe that they're going to have to outscore their opponents to get to the Holy Grail, which is the Champions League for Tottenham at the moment. So, and Gareth Bale's form and Gareth Bale's abilities, I think, going to play a big role in that.
Too little, too late for Spurs, man.
It's
Too
tight.
little, too late.
It's tight,
Anyone
man.
that puts 3 wins together is going to change. I mean, I said to you both last night in the chat, like, I'm not writing Liverpool off for finishing inside Champions League.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll get it together, and I suspect they won't get it together. But if they did, they'd be right in the mix. The league's well too tight. I'm not even confident United are in the top 4 for definite.
Come on. Seriously.
Oh, they are. They are. They're gone. They're gone.
We could hit a skid. We could
It's
easily
done.
hit a skid.
It's done. I just think Tottenham, they've got Bale and Kane and Son. Everyone else just does their job to the minimum. Just do your job. If you're a defender, you defend. Give the ball to the top 3. Give the ball to them 3 and let them go and win it. That's all you need. And Dele Alli, if he comes in and plays his part as well to make it a quartet rather than a trio, then I just feel that they're going to have someone like Gareth Bale. I think has got the ability, the experience to just take them and pull them through.
But you got to
They're
look at who
6th now, right? Yeah.
They got
They're
Arsenal.
6th
They got
on
Arsenal.
45 points. You got Everton
Yeah.
on 46, and you got Chelsea on 47. United and Leicester have opened up a little bit of a gap now. Leicester on 43, we're on 53, we're on 54. Like, it's
Them 3
tight.
are fighting for that 4th position. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not like Chelsea are playing like out of their skin. They're getting good results. They've done well under Tuchel, but it's not like they're far and above the better team. And Everton the same. Them
West
3
Ham got a game
teams.
in hand on them, same points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I think Spurs are in there with a shout.
They're in there with a shout, but I think as well as I've seen them play this season, I don't trust them. They got Arsenal coming up. They got Villa. They got Everton. They got. I don't really want to say much about Wolves, Leicester. You know, last game of the season. I don't trust them.
I've not trusted them at all. Everything that's been leveled at them has been about a lack of consistency, which I totally agree with, Joel. Yeah, but they've not ever at any point in this season had that front 3 firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
they have now. It's a very different team, a different animal you're playing against. And I can see there's a swagger now almost coming out of Jose Mourinho now because he knows what he's got under the bonnet now. And he knows it's there ready and firing. He's been waiting for Bale to hit a bit of form and get fit and get with a rhythm. He's there now.
Do you reckon he'll stay?
I don't know. It depends where they finish. If they finish Champions League, I think there's a chance, but I think he'll have to take a big reduction in wages. Whether he's willing to do that or not remains to be seen. But he'll have to take a reduction in wages to go there because there ain't no way they can sign him and be on more money than Harry Kane. No chance.
How do you lot get on this weekend? So you scored an early goal. Did you win?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
We're talking about Arsenal, bruv. You just sat back in your chair and slumped.
This ain't the Arsenal section. Roy Hodgson, do you reckon he's taken Palace as far as they can go?
Let's leave
See
that.
that
We don't need to
swerve
talk
then?
about that. We don't need to talk about that. Arsenal,
Roy Hodgson,
where are you?
he's
Roy
been
Hodgson's 107 years old.
there. Do you think, he's taken them as far as they can go?
I don't care, right? Arsenal, what happened to you lot?
Bruv, you saw the decisions, dodgy decisions. Do you think that
Hang
was
on,
a penalty? Yes or no?
hang on. Crystal Palace are 4 points off you.
Do you think it was a penalty? Yes. So do you want to go back to talk about Palace then? Because we can if you want.
No,
I'm just
I
saying if
agree
he's
with you,
taken them
Joel.
as far as
I
he can
agree.
take them.
Cool.
But I
I'm
agree
telling
you should have had a penalty. You should definitely have had a penalty. Yeah. It was out. The decision was a disgrace. VAR has become a laughing stock.
There
It's
you go.
ruining our game. It's
There you
ruining
go.
people. Scott Park hit the nail on the head. It's taken the purity out of the game. You can't celebrate goals anymore because you're worried about it being overturned from a decision that was 3 minutes before. It's a disgrace. I can't get rid of it. The game was brilliant for 100 and whatever years. Why are you trying to change it for? Why? What are we trying to get here for small percentages? It ain't worth it because all you're doing, you're going to start alienating fans. Because you look at the American sports, yeah? A lot of people don't get into some of them American sports because there's too much going on. There's too much stopping and starting. This is the most fluid game ever it's been. Now it's becoming a game where people are standing, getting cold for 2 minutes because of a decision, and they still don't get the decision right. Get rid. It's not worth it. I think it's a joke. It's out of order.
Or are we too far down the line with it?
I don't know, but I just don't think it's. Don't persevere with it. Get rid of it. You spent a bit of money looking at it. We've looked at it. We've sucked it and seen it ain't right for the game. It's detrimental to our game. You can't even enjoy a goal anymore. That's the killer. The game's about reacting to situations and goals and whatever. You can't even actually go bananas because now players, they look at them. They must be embarrassed. It's embarrassing. I've just celebrated a goal, unbelievable, and all of a sudden, oh, it's been disallowed. Blah, 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 after 2-3 minutes. So it's a joke.
Moment in 99, and Solskjaer, well, he's put the ball in the back of the net. Let's have a look if VAR's going to give it.
Yeah, you're not enjoying it.
Losing the mind.
You're not enjoying it. You can't enjoy taking the enjoyment out of it, man. But it doesn't paper over the cracks at Arsenal. You had all the chances to finish the game off. You could have finished that game off well before.
2 secs. So do you reckon, the powers that may be, they're seeing all of this? The people at Stockley Park, all of that. Do you not reckon that's enough to influence them to scrap it next season?
These people, they're facilitating having jobs.
Yeah.
Trust me. That's all it can be down to because they ain't making our game better. It's not making our game better in any way which you look at it. I don't care how you look at it. It's not improving the game. Any rule that comes in and changed should be for the betterment of this game, of the beautiful game. It isn't. None of these decisions, none of these VAR or whatever they're trying to look at the moment, just because technology's come in. I remember when I first spoke about one of the first times I spoke about it was at a Euros or a World Cup when I was on BBC. And it's talking about VAR. Do you like it? Gary Lineker asked me. And I said, no, technology. Well, just because we're in a new tech world and we're moving forward. And that says, yeah, it's great. Data, all that stuff's great. But to change the dynamics of a game when people can't even celebrate a goal anymore, no.
There's no game with no goals.
Exactly. It's not good, man.
It's meant to be way more passive as well. That, like, if you read what IFAB president said when VAR was first introduced, the clear and obvious, people have misinterpreted it. People are saying, like, you can't be clear and obviously wrong. You're either offside or you're not. I understand that. But they're asking, did the referee make a clear and obvious mistake? Not, are you clear and obviously offside? That's the difference in the interpretation of that. Like when Drogba scored against us, clear and obvious, one look at it, 1 second, go, shit, that's offside. Sorted. But he said when you have to start getting them lines out and you go, oh, looks like there's a 1 pixel is over him. Well, does he have advantage by that 1 pixel? No. And we're so accurate on looking where we are in terms of this side of the line. I've never seen anyone go back and look at the ball. And when is the ball played, by the way? Is it when it leaves your foot, when your foot first touches it? Is it midway between, that's a lot of frames of a ball went from you kicking it to it leaving your foot. Like, you could move quite a lot of distance in that time on the other side. We're so accurate this side. I never see the accuracy on the other side.
It's
and
poor.
is that playing it into play?
It's poor. It's all poor. Get rid. No, there's not even a conversation. Get rid.
Go back to daylight as well. Because that's an advantage in it. If you've got daylight in between you, then there's an advantage. If you're just level and your arm's sticking out a little bit further than the defender, there's no advantage there. So you got to look at why the rule was brought in. Offside was to stop goal hanging and people kicking it forward 20 yards behind the defence. That's not happening. When you start measuring pixels and looking at these lines on a pitch and seeing, someone leant a tiny bit forward and that meant like his armpit was there, stop it. Like, what are we doing?
But Arsenal, man.
Still it.
Speaking of one shambles.
Do you know what Arteta must think? Where's he going? Where's Joel gone?
It's workplace bullying, I think.
Let's talk real football, yeah. Honestly, first half we had them. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what Xhaka was playing at there. Do you see what I'm saying? We are so uncomfortable playing out from the back. It makes me sick.
You say that, yeah, but you scored some of your best goals playing out the back.
Fair enough. That's all right. But we've never been fully comfortable consistently, in my opinion. I remember when we first started playing from the back against Watford a couple of years ago. It was shades of that, man. When certain players have got the ball, right? I'm an Arsenal fan, bro. Like, trust me. When some players got the ball, you feel comfortable. When certain players get on the ball, you're like, my God, you don't even know. You're just not sure what's going to happen. And unfortunately, Xhaka, you know what I mean? He had to pay for his mistake. He can't hang around on the ball that long. Besides that, we need to be more, first half we were decent, but we need to be more clinical in front of goal, man. For me, it looks like if Orba's not doing the business or it's looking a bit shaky that side, you just don't know what's going to happen. Saka can't get us out of trouble every single time.
Yeah, if Saka's not doing it, you guys haven't performed this year. But you know what? Arteta must look at the squad, yeah, like a promiscuous girlfriend. He just must lack so much trust and faith in them. He can't trust them at all because he don't know what's going to happen at the moment. He doesn't know. He could do the best team talk of his life, but they're going to go out there and do their own thing. Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be coming together. And you know what the mad thing is? I like Arsenal, man. I love some of the players there. Oba, Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe. Like this, I can go on and on with all these names. Partey when he's coming. That's get another one. He ain't never fit. He keeps coming, breaking down. Like they got good players there, man. But for some reason, I don't know what's happening. It just isn't coming together consistently at the moment.
It's down to morale as well, man.
Yes or no?
What'd you say?
Get Wenger back, yes or no?
Nah. Fair, like with respect to Wenger, yeah. I know there's going to be a lot of split decision with this, but he should have went years before he actually went. I think there was a time where we had Pep Guardiola interested in coming to Arsenal. I'm not saying it was going to happen, but he was interested. You know, it was a club that he fancied, we fancied them, etc. But we kind of did a Man United where we thought we were bigger than what we really were, and we let certain managers go. Klopp, same thing. There was no secret that we were interested in him, and I know he liked Arsenal very much. But when sometimes you don't come off your high horse, yeah, time goes. So you got to strike whilst the iron is hot, and we failed to do that. Now we're playing catch up, and now we could be playing catch up for the next 5-10 years. Think I'm joking? It's the truth.
I like Arteta. I want him to do well, man. I just think that like recruitment's going to be big in this next window for you guys.
It's going to be big for the next few windows. What quality players want to stop where they're playing and come to Arsenal to help us win the league?
That comes down to recruitment then. You've got to have good recruitment.
Recruitment, yes, but there's a certain caliber of players as well, man. It's going to take a long time. You can't just go from level 3 to level 7. Like,
yeah, but you say that. Look at what Brendan Rodgers is doing at Leicester. He ain't buying high-level like players that are playing at all of the big clubs in Europe. He's buying players that he can improve and fit in with what he's trying to work with. That's
a good point. He has to be manager of the season.
He's my. It's close. It's not outright. You got David Moyes and you got Carlo Ancelotti as well.
Dean Smith,
yeah. I think it's that 4. But for me, standouts is between them 4, and I don't think you wouldn't be too shocked if any one of them getting picked.
I think D Smith, as it stands, D Smith's fallen off a little bit. I know they got a couple of games in hand, but I wouldn't say him at the moment. But
to be fair, if they win both their games in hand, they're 5th. They go above Everton.
Well, they still got to play those games, innit?
They do, but they could win both those games.
Talk to me in 2 games, mate. You know what I mean?
What, when you're 14th?
Listen, we've spoken about Arsenal as it is, all right? Move on. Guys, for me...
Have you hit rock bottom yet?
Do you think? Arsenal?
Yeah.
Bro, listen, it's depressing.
No, a serious question. Have you hit rock bottom and do you think you can build from this point? Or do you think you've got another couple of positions that you could fall to?
This season, no, we haven't hit rock bottom yet. That's what's scary. In the next 10 games, Steve, I can't tell you that we're going to go for a run and we're not going to lose the remainder of our games. I can't tell you that.
Perfectly split at the minute. Won 11, lost 11, drew 5.
Bruv, it's crazy. Have you ever heard them stats at Arsenal Football Club? I was laughing at Liverpool because they've lost 9 this season. 9. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, man. I don't know. You can't blame COVID. You can't blame, like you said, the quality of players. It's just poor, man. I wonder how some of the players go home and sleep at night. Are you happy?
Well, that's a good way to end the show, man. I love it.
You are not serious.
Do you know what? Next time we're going to give you a lift. We put Arsenal somewhere else in the running order, man, because I don't like to see you end like that, man. Slumped on your chair, chin on the table. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, listen, guys, as ever, loved it. Putting the football world to rights.
Oh, hang on, Rio. They got Spurs next week.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go for Spurs 3-1.
Oh,
you know what? Yeah, we'll get a result still because it's a one-off game, just because it's Spurs, not because we're any good, just because it's Spurs, we'll pull out a result. We ain't gonna lose against them. I can see a draw. If we're lucky, a win, but I don't see us losing against them just because of the type of game it is.
Okay, Steve, can you clip that up for next week, please?
no problem.
Top man.
Yes.
Listen, guys, thanks again. Catch up soon, man.
Take it easy.